And here we are, Grammar Fun Times with the Punisher. What if Batman had guns? That's the Punisher. And we're only playing with participles. So let's start it off. Present participles. We went and had this in Daredevil, but here's some more fun. Present participles, you can always tell them because the infixed NT, it follows to termination adjective omnis. Generally speaking, circumstance clauses will be signified by any participle. A participle is a verb acting as an adjective, therefore it becomes an adjective clause. So therefore, present participle was doing, progressive and active. Perfect participle, passive. Signified perfective and passive, having been said. Circumstance clauses modify their nouns based on gender, number, case. Now, of course, I said it was passive, but that's only if it's a full verb. If it's deponent, that means it's passive in form, but active in meaning. So it wouldn't be having gone. It would be, of course, having set out, etc. Same for the future participle, active. So therefore, it'll modify a noun based on gender, number, case, and therefore you have future participle active because the infixed or, signifying a progressive aspect, going to, fixin' to, finna. And it'll modify the noun based on gender, number, case. Therefore, signa numquam fere mentienta, signs hardly ever deceiving, right? They've used auspices having been forced, or etc. The Roman comes out of the camp going to attack the wall. All right, so the workmen, praised by the architects, were very happy. Obviously, you have the subject phrase, the workman, which would modify laudati and therefore be a nominative. Augustus riding has to be nominative, masculine, singular, agreeing with Augustus, present participle, therefore progressive active. When in doubt, check Daredevil. But here's a new thing, ablative absolute clause. Ablative absolute clause is freed from the normal sentence, so therefore it's an ablative subject phrase, an ablative participle with, and it's the same as a cum plus subjunctive. When Xerxes was reading, or perfective with Xerxes having been conquered, or because there is no participle of sum in Latin, therefore you could just have an equational construction with Xerxes being king. Ablative absolute clause, when Cicero was consul. Again, there's no sum verb in the participle in Latin, therefore simply an ablative absolute clause with Cicero being consul. Orationa auditat, notice it's offset by commas, ablative subject, ablative participle, with the speech having been heard, or since it's perfective, you could take the tense without it, when the speech had been heard or after the speech had been heard. Piece of cake. Fun times ahead. Future passive participle, unda, can by itself signify a gerund. A gerund, 8th grade English, probably not learned, but here it is again, is a verb acting as a noun, skiing, eating, romping around. So in Latin, when we've seen it with est, it's a form of a gerundive of obligation or debitive aspect, must needs be done. Here, it's seen as just a noun, desirous of reading, right? We learn ablative by means of reading. Please note that in the gerund, it's just this unda, all by itself. And when it's all by itself, the case meanings mean something, right? Case equals phrase. The king, right? By obeying the king, right? Oftentimes with causa, the postposition, for the sake of reading, the mind is nourished by eating. So here we go. Genitive of description, art of writing. Notice the genitive. Caught for the sake of spending the winter could also be for the dative. Water is useful for drinking. The accusative, they give themselves to play. The mind is nourished by thinking, often with prepositions as well. The gerundive refers that way, a book to be read. Sometimes it has a concept of to be. The gerundive, however, is different than the gerund. Gerundive often has a noun agreeing with it. In case the Latins would have considered it as one concept, right? He orders imperata bridge making. They think of it as like a hyphen, right? So he gave city destruction. Now we would say to be destroyed. He came for cause book reading or of reading a book. You kind of flip the the noun that's part of the gerundive clause and becomes an object phrase in English, right? He came to book read or to read books. So gerendo, participle, ablative by itself. Ablative means phrase, by means of waging or by waging. Here we go. Built, causa. Causa takes the genitive, and the only thing that's genitive is here. So Augustus Caesar built the best, most brilliant library for the sake of book saving or of saving books. And what can we also do? Complement infinitives, that's easy. Possum, wolo, those like to have cupio, nolo, like straight infinitives signifying the clause. Verbs of beginning, trying, purpose. This is straight out of Latin 1. Now, predicate infinitive, something that's kind of interesting. The infinitive can in itself stand as a noun, right? So, errare est humanum. So, when you have a sum verb, you often have that infinitive, right? So, to err is human. That becomes a phrase substitution. That's why it's called a predicate infinitive. So, the slaves were not able, takes the accusative infinitive construction, to obtain liberty. I only want to say this much to carry. All right, last part. Complement gerundive. So when you have that gerundive, plus odd, you often have a concept of a complement clause or done for purpose called gerundive of purpose. So he was giving, the Senate was giving to the consuls for republic defending, to defend the republic. The boy came to girl kiss or for girl kissing. So it's a gerundive of, right? They came to watch the parade. So ad pompum spectandum, to parade watch or watch the parade. Dido and Aeneas set out to venandum, to the hunt. So, and when it's just a concept by itself, it's a neuter. Is that it? That's it. Well, that's all we have to worry about for the Punisher. It's going to be punishing enough as it is, but that is a last frontier for Latin learning. So until that time, aloha, excelsior, and cash me outside. How about that?